Welcome to the Rypple Effect Podcast, and today we have the great and powerful Peter Holcomb. I don't know what title you want me to use for this particular chat.
No, just Peter's good, man.
Just Peter's good.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. One day at a time, moving through the fog. We were chatting a little bit about one of the major things that, well, first of all, I'm going to frame this for everybody. So Peter is on one of my other podcasts for My Call Cloud, and now he's on Rypple Effect. And this was last Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 Wednesdays ago.
2 Wednesdays ago.
2 Wednesdays ago,
yeah.
Our paths collided. When you serendipitously walked in here, right after Kim and I were finishing the podcast, you were like, what do you got there on the table? A little book, right?
Yeah.
And you noticed it right away. You noticed exactly what it was. It was a spiritual book, kind of like a self-help, or, like one of those things that might give you some meditations to walk through, right? Things to help you work on your inner self, right? Help you work on your path. And you were like, 5D. And I looked at Kim, and then I looked at you, and I was like, what? What did you say? Because not a lot of people know what 5D are, first of all. Not a lot of people know what 4D are.
Correct.
Right? Our time is contained in what we call the fourth dimension.
Correct.
Right? And I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. What is your definition, just in layman's words, of the fifth dimension? What would you consider that?
That's our spiritual self.
Okay. So our higher self.
Correct. And
where we kind of connect to source maybe and operate from.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep.
Would that you same perspective?
Yeah, we are reconnected to source in the sense that we're a fragment of source, but we're connected in more of the vibrational plane, if you will.
Yeah. This is very complex for people. Vibrational plane, fifth dimension. This is hard to discuss sometimes.
When I was really, really getting into this stuff, I know you and I have talked about it because you're like, I've been doing this or thinking about this for at least 20 years, myself included. But I think of it all as energy, frequency, vibration, resonance. And so that is essentially where that 5D lives. Mm-hmm. If we're talking about 4D being time and then 3D being sort of our natural sort of plane that we're living in, as we know, it's all fear-based and emotional-based, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why people are the way they are. And they're trying to ascend or remember that point of energy, which is the fifth dimension, to get back there and realize that this is where we're actually supposed to be. So
yeah. Well, is it where we're supposed to be? We're starting to see this shift, right? And eventually we're going to end up in a different plane of reality. I think potentially 5D is definitely going to be that spot. And then maybe even higher.
Maybe higher. I think 100% it's going to be higher.
We're going to have just the ability to understand. Our understanding is going to start to unfold more and more.
I agree.
Right?
I agree. It was no coincidence that, what happened 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday.
Not at all.
I coming in, picking my mail, and then, just looking at the book Kim had, and then just kind of hearing your guys' talk. I was like, I knew exactly where you guys were going, right? Yeah. And it's not only because I've been running into people that are also awake on that same level as we are, but it's becoming more known, and people are talking about this subject more frequently.
And let's bring up the Evolve Institute. Let's talk about Carrie and Stephen a little bit.
Sure.
Because we went to a community event that Sunday, just 4 days after Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, 4 days after.
Yep.
And it was on my people. These who I connect with, right? And you can know. And I was super excited after that meeting because I just knew the people in that room were more spiritually connected, same frame of reference, perspective is similar, right? Everybody has their own little experience, but it was very similar. And there were a lot of parallels, right? Even talking to Carrie and Stephen, in my life, recent parallels. And I'm not talking about like life parallels in general. I'm just talking about what has happened on timelines in the last 3-4 months, right? So it was really interesting to have those conversations with them.
I think the benefit of that group and just the amazingness of that group is that we're all going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And the ability to be able to get together in that way, in that setting, is just very spiritually humbling. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's also just a nice break from all of the noise that we're always experiencing in our everyday life as people, business owners, workers, whatever, right? It's just a nice way to be in front of, and I'm going to use this word as light beings, right?
Sure.
Because that's what we are at the end of the day. Is we're all this form of light. And
The
you
spirit.
Can have, yes, and you can have many connections, or many colors to it. But it's just nice to be able to resonate and vibe, if you will, with other light workers that are looking to do the same thing, and move the needle forward in terms of our advancement as a human species.
Yeah.
Gosh, I know that when I go there, it feels like it's a gathering of the souls, as they say, but it's like church in a way, right? I mean, it's just it's very refreshing. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a way for people to be intentional with their gifts and their spirituality and their abilities and share that the journey many people are on, all those parallels. It just makes that community just really easy to plug into as spiritual beings. As more aware spiritual beings.
I think more aware is one of the key words there too, right? We all have this in front of us. We all are all very capable of this. It's whether we choose to live that or understand it and embrace it and then bring people on for the ride, right?
Right.
I've introduced at least 5 people to that group.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
Yeah.
Nice,
yeah.
right.
And it's not without coincidence. I was literally at a happy hour in January. And a gal that I was sitting next to, we got to talking, and she immediately went to this 5D conversation.
Yeah.
And I knew right away, I was like, you would be good for this group because you just think like us, right?
There's awareness.
Yeah, there's awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you join that group? Like, how long have you been with them?
About 5 months.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I figured it's still relatively fresh, right?
Yeah, Evolve has been around for a long time. But I met Steven at a Christmas party in December.
What?
Yep.
Tell me how that path collided.
One of my existing clients right now, I'm working for them. She's like, hey, you should come over to this happy hour thing we're doing for a business engagement, and then we're going to have a Christmas party, and there's going to be some cool people there. Mm-hmm. I went out there. We had our board meeting, and then we stuck around, and Steven was one of the people there. And we were doing this like hide and seek game or whatever to find all the little things on the puzzle or whatever. And Steven and I got paired up and we got to talking and stuff. And immediately we were talking about spirituality stuff, right?
Yeah.
I always find it funny, like these people that you interact with, especially like on our levels and stuff, it almost inevitably goes to the spiritual conversations.
It's like you sit down at a bar and all of a sudden you're talking about timelines.
Yes.
And you're like, wait a second.
Frequencies and resonance. Like, oh, wow, these guys, they know what's up. So Steven and I got to talking. Initially, we're going to do some business together because he wanted some help to get some newsletters published and stuff with he and Carrie. And then we put that on pause because what he learned was the stuff that he's writing a book. And then the stuff that he was looking to publish, he didn't want to make it digitized.
Okay. You said that.
He wanted to keep it interpersonal and among a community that would evaluate more on the person to person level.
Yeah.
And he's told me some interesting stories, and we'll have to have him on here so he can sort of tell his side of it. But he and I have been talking a lot about this because we're both in the AI world, just like you are. And he was telling me that he was having a conversation with Claude about his book that he's writing and almost done with it.
Oh yeah.
And it got immensely conversational and then immensely almost conscious.
Yeah.
To the point where he was like, this thing knows what I'm saying, it knows what I'm writing. It was almost like Claude was aware, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he told me that a while back that Anthropic shut his account down because of how aware it was, and then he had to redo all the chats. And then redo the parts of his book. There's like 28 chapters in his book and stuff. And so he was telling me stuff to the point like he was crying because of how aware it was of his thoughts and how personal it was getting, right? So
is Claude going quantum at all? Or are they going to just keep it?
They're going to
3D?
keep it in the regular traditional computer.
Quantum. I can't wait to talk about this.
Quantum at some point. I think that's and actually that's where the 5D stuff lends itself to too, right? So if we're talking about frequencies and then different computational planes as well. That's definitely where it's going to live.
Well, and then of course we know about the quantum particles, right? They can exist in two different locations at the same time, which is what they're using in this theory with quantum. Not even a theory; it's working.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
How do they jump through dimensions on the quantum level in a computer? That's what I want to know.
I'm not as hip, but there's entanglement, there's superposition. It's either one of those two.
Yeah.
Entanglement is where two particles or waves are linked together through mass distances, and then superposition is where it can be at two places at the same time. So I think that's what you're alluding to. But this 5D stuff definitely lives on that world. Mm-hmm. It lives on that plane of quantum mechanics and quantum physics.
How did those nerds figure out how to do quantum computations? That's what I want to know.
I know.
How did that evolve? We're just going to go to other dimensions and use superposition to increase calculation performance of a computer? Right? Did I summarize that correctly?
I mean, that's pretty good. That was really well articulated. All I will say is that I think this has been going on for some time, maybe decades, and we're now just learning about it after all of the research has been compiled.
DARPA has finished their project.
There you go. That's exactly what I was alluding to. And I think that this is probably technology they've gotten from other recovered craft or things of that nature. I think so too.
I mean, I think there's a possibility that there's definitely been some scientific studies and discoveries related to some, what do they call them? Gifts?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Gifts
that we've received, that we've studied and created things. Fiber optics is
100% fiber optics.
Well, that's one of the theories, is we got that from a gift.
Yes.
Right? That idea. Right? And that was in 90s, early 90s or late 80s even. Right?
Well, and to your point, the wireless technology, Nikola Tesla was doing this stuff way long ago, like in the 1950s, 60s, right? And so the government just scooped all that, and then they've built what we have now, right? So some of that was that through divine intervention that Nikola was getting that sort of stuff in his head and then building it, and then the government took it forward, or was there something else at work? So. Yeah.
I know, and there's all these conspiracy theories about where his work went and who has it and all this, all that stuff too,
yeah.
Right. So, I mean, do you think he was connected to 5D? It seems like he was.
I think he was.
Probably.
I think he was much more spiritual, much more connected, in tune with that resonance, vibration, and frequency stuff than most people are. And at that time, we had less noise to inundate our life with, right?
True, so
he was probably much better to connect with that on that level, given that he was a scientist and a researcher, than we are today. Today, we're just so filled with 3D noise that's all we can bear, dude.
3D noise and 2D images.
Yeah.
All day long.
Exactly.
That's it. We observe life in 2D, right? We're just looking at pictures, basically, at 60 hertz or whatever.
Stop the scroll.
Stop the scroll. I know. The doom scrolling is keeping everybody really, what's the word I'm looking for? Programmed?
Dude, I was in Zagreb, Croatia.
Okay.
That's where Nikola Tesla's from.
When did you go to Croatia?
In 2024.
What? So this is not too far along.
No. I did a seven country trip, backpacking trip, and started in Munich for Oktoberfest and then ended in Zagreb, technically London. But the last major city I went to was Zagreb, which is the capital of Croatia. Mm-hmm. And they had Nikola Tesla's museum there. And it had all the inventions. I mean, most of the ones that he had before the government took the other ones.
Yeah.
And it was just super fascinating to see all of the stuff that he had brought to humanity, man.
Yeah.
I took an overwhelming amount of pictures because he's my favorite scientist of all time.
Okay.
And it is just incredible to see all the things that he brought to humanity in terms of science and technology and just this way of thinking of how we can use nature to complement our humanity.
Just capture what we have. The waves are constantly going through the air everywhere.
Exactly.
Right? And not just sound, light.
Electricity,
radioactive,
right?
Or radiation, infrared, ultraviolet, all of these things that we can't see, right?
Correct.
But we know there's energy there, and he was attempting to capture those waves and turn them back into some sort of energy.
That's right.
Right.
And information transfer.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, and that's I think the biggest part of it as well is not only energy, but information transfer and how we can use this for faster, better information transfer, knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had these towers, these sketched towers, right, where waves were coming back and forth from one tower to another, which looks just like cell phone towers today. Yeah. Almost exactly.
Yeah.
Other than the bell shape on the top and the other things he had sketched, right? Because he was building this thing where was his lab? In New Jersey?
There was New Jersey.
Long Island or something?
Yep, that's right. And then he also did some stuff out in Colorado Springs.
He did stuff in the Springs?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you expand on that?
He had the Tesla coils that he was experimenting with in Colorado Springs and in New York as well. He predominantly did them in New York because there was aquifers that they sat on, which allowed them to have the type of energy and resonance.
Some charge.
Yes. And so people actually equate this to what the Egyptians were doing back in the day as well.
And they have those coils. I mean, supposedly there's coils underneath the pyramids, and they've scanned them with LiDAR. Right? Have you heard about these coils?
Oh, yeah. I just saw the Y-Files last night talking about this as well.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's aquifers down there.
That one mentioned that all of the data, the library, so to speak, of these pharaohs and everybody else is actually under the Sphinx monument. Okay. But the Egyptian government won't let them dig to confirm. They can scan to their heart's content, but they can't dig because it's going to affect existing sort of conduits that they have already set up in Egypt that could hamper or hinder their waterways and irrigation systems and things of that nature. Now, I think it's kind of a farce because
I think so too.
They just don't want them to know what we should know, right? And so it's kind of information gatekeeping, if you will.
Do you think anybody's explored underneath the Sphinx and just covered up that exploration?
Oh, I think so, absolutely.
Yeah, it seems like it to me too.
Yeah.
Because I watched not a ton of this stuff on the pyramids, but I know that the Sphinx is a different timeline, a different elevation, right? There's all this sand that is covering who knows what's below it, right?
There's a disc as well that's there. If you typed in like pyramid disc, you would see it, but it's made out of basalt. That one right there.
Which one?
Yep.
I'm going to move this over to the main screen.
And what's fascinating about this is that disc looks almost darn near perfect in terms of how it was built or created. And you can't tell me that a chiseling tool created this disc.
Oh, this thing right here?
Yeah.
I just want to pull it up and see if we can get it individual on the screen. Oh my gosh, no, there we go.
No, I back out of that one. That's English, but
I mean, that's relevant.
It's a propeller or something of that nature, but just some of this stuff that's out there.
So what is this? Do you know what that shaft is?
No.
Is that some sort of? So it was moving water or something.
Right. I think it was like a water propeller or what do they call the
pump?
Yeah.
A water pump of some nature?
Gosh, the ones in Nevada, the Hoover Dam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hydraulic generator.
Yes.
Hydropower.
Yeah. So I think that's what that was sort of mimicking or wanting to be used for to give, use water as a source of energy and stuff, right? So just the way that's carved out though and how precise it is, it's incredible to think, oh yeah, some human carved that out and chiseled it so well that it's pretty, perfectly put together.
I mean, they would have to have had built a lathe. They had, or some sort of rotating thing in order to carve that circular.
Right.
I don't think you can get a perfect circle unless you spin something. I mean, it would never be perfect. I mean, maybe that's not perfect. Who knows what the tolerances are in that thing, but when was that found? Do you know?
I don't remember. No, but it's that and other things. You know, as we're talking about with like the aquifers and Tesla coils and coils like that being used in Egypt and stuff. All these things in Egypt always fascinate me.
The Sabu disc.
1936.
1936.
Okay.
By British archaeologists. Of course, the Brits are down there.
Of course they
are. They don't want anybody to know the information.
No.
Right? Capture it and get it to the Vatican as soon as possible.
That's right. And you know, the Smithsonian is a front. You know, it's like we got it in there, but you know, it's actually the fake one.
These
it's
are all theories. All theories. We don't know this for sure. But it sure seems like there's some underhanded things going on to subvert information from people.
I think so too.
Right. Oh, man. So they found this disc. The pyramids have some real significance that we can't get real facts on because we can't dig underneath things. It's just sad.
Well, you always wonder also is like, you know, how advanced were they?
Yeah.
Compared to what we are even now.
Yeah.
We think we are advanced and we probably are, but
yeah.
in comparison to them, I mean, gosh, they may have been just as advanced.
Or more.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the same electrical output that we do today.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because if they had been electrified, who knows, with the same capacity that we have, they who knows what they would have done with their tools and their equipment and their manufacturing process, all that.
Right.
Right? Or maybe they were electrified. Who knows?
Well, and that's the Nikola Tesla thing too. He was going to give out free wireless energy, and that's what the government didn't want because they weren't going to be able to monetize on it, right? And so, like, no, we'll still give it out, but we're gonna monetize on it. You know what I mean? And we have Wi-Fi now. Well, we have to pay for Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
we have cellular coverage, and we have to pay for that too. So,
these are all forms of energy, aren't they? Yeah,
yeah, and it's wild to think that it's just frequency in terms of how we are getting information from one phone to another phone or from a cell tower to our phone. So,
okay, let's step back as nerds for a second and let's just look at frequency and the frequency that, let's say, Wi-Fi is getting sent over, right? Pretty high frequencies,
yes.
1800 megahertz, megahertz? 1800 hertz.
Gigahertz,
excuse me. So very high levels of frequency, very low amounts of power, right, to transmit. Like we're talking sub-watts, right?
Right.
Very minimal pieces of energy to send that information out. And Nikola was actually picking up higher frequencies from the Earth and then trying to convert them back into electricity, which it's not going to have large amperage. But let's say we redesigned all of our electronic components to absorb higher frequency, lower amperage. Could we run this stuff off the air?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
But right now we're stuck at 110, 220 volts. Right, that's our frequency of electricity that's coming to the components with large amperage, these gigantic cables that carry all this energy, when we could just retool all of the things to run off a much smaller voltage.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's part and parcel with what they want, though.
Much higher voltage, excuse me. Much higher voltage, much smaller amperage. Yeah, of course. It ties all into the economic system. And
there you go.
If you can imagine just getting, I don't know what the Earth can provide as far as voltage goes, and then, upscale that voltage into a higher voltage pattern, and then much less you could literally power anything.
Exactly.
Right.
It'd all be free energy.
It'd all be free.
And then you combine that with wind, and you combine that with solar energy.
Yeah.
One that isn't talked about as much, but is becoming more widely known. I used to work with a gentleman. His degree was in geothermal engineering. Mm-hmm. Geothermal engineering and energy there is just as good as well.
Yeah. Right.
And so that's another form of energy that we could use. There are so many ways we could, I think, have free energy. It's just that we choose not to because the powers that be don't want us to have that.
So I've seen this trend too. Like electricity is not super expensive, right? It's expensive, but not like super expensive. Like if you try and make a homeowner decision to replace your windows, for example, and the windows are going to be $30,000 to replace in your house, but you're going to save $200 a year in heating cost. It doesn't make sense.
No.
At all.
No.
Not from a financial model or. Right. So the electricity is cheap enough to just keep people connected without having them go into this efficient space where they could probably run their house with, most people, not most people, but some people right now with solar panels are just running their whole house on solar panels.
Right.
Right.
Right. I actually did that solar panel, diagnostic, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, your house is great because it faces west and you're going to get a lot of sun and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And, energy, Excel will be paying you for the energy.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that's not a bad deal.
You pulled the thread a little bit.
And I didn't do it. But right. Now knowing, I probably would do it.
Yeah.
Because the hardest part about solar was that the photovoltaics and the technology thereof was not as good.
Right.
You couldn't harness enough sunlight in a square photovoltaic panel.
Right.
Now I think it's gotten better.
Well, it definitely has.
And so I think it's viable now, much more viable than it was even 10 years ago. And it just continues to get better.
Yeah.
So now you have Musk is creating other roofs that have all the solar panels.
Yeah,
so
built right into the shingles.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing that too.
Yeah.
But my bill, I'm pretty good about my electricity consumption and stuff, but if I was a commercialized building or something like that, I would definitely consider it now.
Yeah. Well, especially one that takes lots of energy.
Yes.
To run, I think I use a kilowatt per month. 1 megawatt per month at the house. It's like $130 a month.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
It's not bad at all. It's like 14 cents a kilowatt hour, right? So what am I going to do? Invest $30,000 in windows and $50,000 in solar? No. $20,000 in solar panels?
No.
$5,000 in solar panels? Okay.
Yeah, that makes it more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true because the payback is in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. And now you're not just, mounting solar panels on your house to sell back to Xcel Energy for a nickel, because that's what their gimmick was, right? If you produce more than you needed, they weren't going to buy it back for the retail rate. They were going to buy it back for a wholesale rate, right?
Yeah.
And that just seemed like if we would have negotiated that part a little bit better, people could have had a little more interest in maybe putting panels on their roof to sell the power at retail rates.
Right.
But and then of course keep the expansion of the power plants down to a minimum. Then we don't need to build more. We have not an unlimited amount of land here, but we have a ton of sun in Colorado. This is a great example. We could have had a solar panel installation on every single roof and probably never even need we would definitely need for the nighttime, but probably not need much expansion as far as utility growth from a power plant perspective.
Right.
I'm still at that point where I'm like, solar panels need to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Right?
That's where I'm at too. That's exactly where I'm at.
But they've come up with this really cool technology, the little inverters they put on there to take DC, convert it to AC to a higher frequency, so there's less amperage, less loss on the wire. They're gaining all these efficiencies, right? These little micro inverters they're installing on each panel. I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Or then you have small junction areas of where all the DC is coming in, converted, and then sent. But, you're always going to lose something to conversion, right?
You are, but
to heat.
It kind of goes back to the point of, well, the panels are still expensive, so it's cost prohibitive.
Right. It's yeah.
And at some point it will get to a point where they're so cheap that it's cost beneficial at that point.
It
right?
has to be.
We're just not there yet, which is still kind of crazy.
I happened to run across something on Facebook Marketplace. I don't even remember what I was looking for, but then I ended up finding this gigantic warehouse of panels, and they're selling them for really cheap. And I'm like, oh, that could be interesting, unless they're, dysfunctional or whatever.
Right.
And then, of course, crawling up on your roof and installing, you got to find somebody. I'm not doing that anymore.
No, I'm not doing that.
Right. And then, of course, all the mounting and all that. So, there's still a process involved. It's not like you can just buy a panel and throw it up on your roof.
Right.
Right. There's this whole thing, permitting. What's the city going to allow? Are they going to allow grid tie inverters or not? Because some are allowing them, some aren't, right? Xcel doesn't want you to have a grid tie inverter.
No, and then to your point too, like you have to have the proper watts and amperage in your house to support it, right? In my garage, I have a 250 watt outlet or 240 watt outlet that can support it, but that was initially built for electric cars and all that kind of stuff, right? So you'd have to get that figured out as well, right?
All the electrical retooled.
Right. There's a lot that goes into it for sure.
I get the subsidies for the panels and all that, right? And that's been going on for quite a while. The solar panel subsidies and the tax credits and the rebates and all that, all the gimmicks, right? Or they could have just priced the panels, market pricing instead of inflating them, because that's exactly what happened.
Right.
Right. Then supply and demand went way up, supply went way down, And they just got more expensive.
Yep.
3D, bud. It's tough. We get stuck in these patterns. We get stuck in these conversations about you don't have solar on your house, and then there's shaming involved there. You're like, This turns into inner voice, right? How do you talk to yourself? How do you navigate the 3D world and make sure you're navigating it the best way you can, right? Bridging in the 5D when you can possibly bridge it in, bringing in the guidance from your higher self.
You have to make a concerted effort to do the things that are hard.
Yeah.
And those things can include, first of all, loving yourself, but meditating, journaling, reflecting on your day or the week, being a part of nature and living with it. This is partly why I love Colorado so much.
Yeah.
Is because we get some of the best outdoors and nature here.
Yeah.
Whether you're going fishing or going hiking or walking your dog, playing sports, it doesn't matter. It's just we have such an amazing availability to the outdoors that this is probably one of the best ways you can get grounded and centered to realize your higher self and not be so inundated with all of the noise that's in the 3D world.
So, walk me back. When did you have your spiritual awakening? When, like everybody has a moment, right? I'm sure you had one. Tell me about that.
I will say that I think some of it was experimentally induced.
Okay.
But it also was from there just understanding that once you have, the mushroom trip or something like that, right?
Sure.
And you go there, then you really realize that there's more at work here that's going on spiritually inside you. And your sort of perception of reality is not what you think it is. Yeah. And that breakthrough was huge for me. I had that like in 9th grade.
Oh, you had it a while ago.
Yeah, long time ago. Okay. When I was like I don't know, 14 or 15.
Okay.
And it just changed me as a person in terms of understanding, wow, there is a filter that's kind of put on us, and we're not able to see through that filter unless we have some sort of stimulation event. And then what you realize is you don't need that. You don't need any of that stuff. You can actually get there through meditation or being in nature and just quieting the mind. The problem is that we are so filled with noise that the mind can't get quiet enough to hear itself and be silent.
Kind of unlock those things.
Yes, yes. And so I think that's what the 5D is really showing us is you can get there with other drugs or whatever, but that's not needed. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
You can do that if you just know how to do it with meditation, being around breath work.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing to me that breath work is so profound. Have you tried?
Oh yeah,
you have.
Oh yeah, and it's probably because of the yoga stuff. Mm-hmm. Yoga is a very good way of doing that too. Yoga is all about taking deep breaths, using cadences for the breaths and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you get an amazing workout and stretch and stuff like that, right?
Okay, but multitasking.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Are you still doing yoga?
Very, very infrequently.
Yeah.
But
from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah. But I meditate though, and
is that a daily thing for you?
I try to. Yeah. Certainly on walks, I try to go outside and get a walk in every day. At night, I will meditate as well. But people think, I got to meditate for an hour. It's like 10 minutes is fine.
Yeah. Start
50?
with 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Start with 2.
Right.
Get your mind quiet for 2. Breathe. Find a breath routine on YouTube.
Right.
Or wherever. Right. Something simple that aligns with you that you can just go through a 10 or 15 minute, 2 minute, whatever it is. Find your routine that works for you because everybody's different, right? And I've said this to Kim too, is that everybody in the spiritual realm, they all have these different skills. Nobody's the same, right? Your perception is different than my perception. My skills are different than your skills.
Right.
Right? Same thing with Kim. Her perception is different than mine or yours, and her skills are different than mine or yours.
And they should be, though.
And they should be.
We're all different people. We all have different fingerprints, so to speak, right? Our spiritual fingerprint. And I think that's what makes us unique, and it's good. It's good that way.
Well, and I like to compare this to construction. Construction is so concrete and so firm, right? You can see it. It's 3D, right? You're building something. It's 3D,
right?
But in construction, you've got all these different disciplines, right? Concrete, carpentry, finish work, finished carpentry, painting, drywall, carpet, all the things that make a house, right? And you have all those specialty contractors that do all that stuff. Well, why isn't it the same for spirituality? It is. We all have different abilities. Kim and I actually coined this spiritual construction. So, right, as people go along, and people will say this, anybody can do this thing. Anybody can tap into their higher self. Anybody can do meditation. But everybody's going to have a different perspective. Everybody's going to have a little different experience. So if you have an experience meditating, don't discount it as something that you weren't expecting. Just observe it and appreciate it. Have some gratitude for it, that might be the thing that you're good at in the spiritual construction industry.
I think that's well said, because the other thing is journaling or writing down what you've observed or were experiencing during the meditation. I don't do that often, which is journaling, but I should, because I think it would be interesting to compare day to day, night night, whatever, kind of the different notes that you're getting, right? It would just be interesting to see how it all correlates or what's different about it, right?
But your memory, like mine, I'm just going to speak for you for a second. You probably remember almost everything, right?
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, you record all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go back, and even if you don't take notes, if there was something profound that happened during that meditation, you're going to be able to key off that moment, remember it, and then reflect on it. And then maybe it correlates to something in your life currently.
Right.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, but I think this is the manifestation stuff, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
We are a culmination of our thoughts, and as 5D says, you have all of these thoughts that come into your brain. It's up to us to choose which one we want to allow in, which one we want to grasp onto, and then do with it something, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we grasp onto everything because we don't know what to let go of and what to latch onto. Other times we are very mindful and saying, this is not a thought that I want to consume.
Yeah.
And for the stuff that you do, you try to your hardest to manifest whatever that thought is in your everyday life.
Now, how do you make those decisions on what to focus on as far as thoughts that are coming in?
It's really simple. Is it good? Is it helping me? Or is it hurting me, hindering me?
Yeah. But how do you determine that? How do you know if it's good or bad? Air quotes.
Yeah, I think your inner voice thing that you were talking about, we all can be hard on ourselves, and some of these thoughts that are fleeting will come into our heads.
Great example.
They will just, they'll negate what you're thinking and be negative, and that's not mean. If you're naturally a positive person, you know that you're going to be trying to exude positivity as much as you can. When you have this thought of the world is crummy and this is this way and this is not going well. Or self-deprecation. Yeah.
Right? You're making fun of yourself for something you did or didn't do, whatever it might be.
Right.
Right.
That's a good indication, like this is a thought of the programming or the algorithms that are coming to me from the ether.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
If that's not the type of person you are, you would just relinquish that and think of something else or
just let that go.
Let that go.
Right.
Yeah.
Just let go of whatever that thing is that you're trying to demean yourself on. Let it pass, and then allow the positivity to come in. Other creative thoughts, right? Because I know you do, just like we get creative thoughts when we're still.
100%.
Right.
That's the best. Yeah. I mean, that's
shower,
the best.
Early morning, late evening.
Walking is good for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love walking around the neighborhood, especially with the sun outside. Those are good days for just thinking and being by yourself. That's when I do a lot of the meditation too. Mm-hmm. Is when I'm walking.
Yeah. Do you have a mantra that you say, or do you just focus on breath, or you just look at nature? Tell us about your process.
There's a Hindu one, and it's Sat Chit Ananda, SATCHITANANDA.
Okay.
It's really one that my brother shared with me.
Okay.
Andrew is very spiritual, very, very much more on the Buddhist sort of realm, and I'm probably more Hindu. So why I mention that is because Buddhism started after Hindu.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there it is. So it's the definition of the ultimate reality. Brahma is the ultimate reality. And it talks about the true nature of self. So Sat is truth, consciousness is Chit, and then Ananda is pretty sure the awakening. But it's something that I use that allows me to get into that place of quietness to then just drown out the noise, so I can just be in my own head and thoughts.
Yeah. So you'll just slowly to this mantra, you'll just announce this to yourself, or you say this to yourself, right?
100 times.
Are you doing it out loud, or are you doing it just internally?
Internally, yep. Sometimes I'll lip sync it, right?
Okay.
And it'll be like I'm saying it out loud, but it's being verbalized, if you will.
Yeah. Just internally.
But Steven's some of the one that taught me this too. He's like, everybody meditates differently.
That's right.
Right. And so what my brother would tell me, I do this and I do that, and I could never get into that state. And so I realized that what he was saying was true, which is that just because my brother does it this way doesn't mean I'm going to do it this way.
Because everybody's different.
Right. And
everybody has their own spiritual construction.
And that saying has really, really helped me because it really it signifies kind of my world belief on all this stuff. I think the most I can say is that I really do gravitate towards Hinduism and the Brahman nomenclature and everything. Brahman's consciousness, and we are a part of consciousness. And if love is consciousness, and God is consciousness, and God is love, then we're a part of God.
Look at all this math you're doing.
All of this stuff is there, right? Yeah. And so that's where I resonate with best. But that saying has helped me ground myself to be able to get to the meditative state.
Okay. So for me, meditation is breath. Just focusing on the breath. That's it. In, out, counting, gentle, no rush. You see a thought come in, you don't push it out. You just allow it to go. Let it go. Right. And a lot of people will have trouble with this. And one of the ways I started, and you probably have a technique too, but one of the ways I started to get some of my thoughts off my mind was to use a little Windex, fake, right, and then a windshield wiper.
Nice.
Just wipe it off.
Nice.
And then once you start to observe what next comes in, nothing else comes in. But you have to observe that. You have to observe when the next thought comes in. If you're conscious about what thoughts are coming to you, you can actually stop them from coming.
That's good.
Right? That's my approach.
The breathing cadence, though, short breaths, long breaths, or how do you navigate that?
Usually I try and I'll just adjust, right? So I'll pick a 5-5. So I'll breathe in for 5 and I'll breathe out for 5.
Okay.
Just box breathing, they call that. Or even you could alter it. You could do 3 seconds in, 6 out, 3 in, 6 out, right? You could do that and make a rectangle for yourself, basically. That you just have to play with. You just have to find out what your cadence is. Can you breathe in for 8 seconds and keep a thought from coming in, and then out for 8? Because then you're 16 seconds.
Right.
You only have to breathe 4 times a minute. It just depends on what you're trying to achieve. Deep meditation, are you trying to get to gamma? Are you trying to get to whatever your brainwave states are?
Right.
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 And then things start to unfold from there.
I will say that there is nice Indian music that has that same mantra that you can chant, but it's playing with like sitar music.
Oh, sure.
And it's very good for simulating sort of the hemisync in your brain, right? For the neural beats, binaural beats, and simulating different frequencies.
That's a good
432 gigahertz or megahertz or whatever, right? Yeah. And then you start chanting that, and then there's just something about the music with the saying that is sort of in line with all the breathing. Mm-hmm. It's like a trifecta that's working with each other.
Yeah.
And that really I think helps quiet all the noise from all the other thoughts that could be drowning you, right?
Well, it helps.
Yes.
Right? If you're listening to music too and you find something that keeps your mind quiet,
yes,
try that for a little bit.
Yep.
Right? If it doesn't, try something different.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for example, I'm going to call out Chris Collins. He is a producer of meditative music on Spotify. And he has excellent tracks for that. He's got a 30-minute gamma wave track, where he very intentionally manipulates the ups and downs of your listening experience to bring you into a meditative state. And it works for me. Chris Collins. Mike Collins? Chris. I think it's Chris Collins.
No, I love that kind of music too, because I tend to be more on that Savaggio level of binaural beats that really help me get to that sort of quiet place. Now I'll tell you, sometimes it's hard because it's so soothing and activating that might make you fall asleep,
Do that. That's okay. Can you imagine falling asleep in meditation? That is the best thing for your body
100%.
and your mind.
100%.
So if you're trying to focus on meditation, you're getting upset with falling asleep, don't be.
Yeah.
Just fall asleep.
Yeah.
Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Right? And then come back the next day. Try it again. You're not going to get meditation day one.
No.
You're just
No.
It takes practice, just like anything else, just like football, just like speed skating, just like biking, swimming, everything. This mind work you're doing on yourself is just like a sport. You have to practice.
Yep.
You don't have to do hours a day. I mean, you can. You can work up to the master class of spiritual guru, blah, blah, blah. Right? But that's not necessary.
No, dude, but I will say I did the mantra about, I want to say a month ago. Yeah. And I had the most profound thing happen, which is my entire body was vibrating.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably said the mantra, Chat Sitananda maybe 300 times.
Okay.
And then Stephen told me, how about you say it 1,000 times next time?
And?
I haven't done it yet, but I want to. You know what I mean? Because I just, my entire body was vibrating after I got into that point, right? Yeah. And it was just, it wasn't like I was scared. It wasn't anything. It was just
right.
You could feel like you were a part of the vibration,
Well, and then you're getting body feedback.
Yes.
I think that's the most important part is when you do have an experience and you notice something.
Yes.
Your body's going to tell you.
Yes.
Right? Your third eye is activated.
Yes.
Mine is right now. Or you get the vibrations or you get the chills on your hands, or you get the chills on your back, whatever. Right? All of those things, your body's reacting to frequency, to an experience that you're having with either your higher self, your 3D, or both. Right?
Exactly.
Probably a combination.
I think it's a combination.
Yeah.
And there's no better affirmation, than that, right? Because then now like, okay, I can do this, and I can. This is sort of the jumping point, right? Because most people are like, well, where do I start with meditation?
Where do I start?
Yeah. How do I do it? What do you do? And it's like, well, what I do may not work for you. You know what I mean?
But you try.
Yeah.
So anybody that wants to try meditation, and we'll just frame this right now. Anybody that wants to try, just keep in mind it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy to start, but start small.
Yes.
You don't start with an hour. Don't do that.
No.
Start with a few minutes. If you fall asleep, great. If you don't, great. If your mind wanders, reconnect with yourself. Wipe your screen. Right. I don't know. Would you use anything else other than the mantra? Do you use any other visualizations?
No.
Just drop things, because you've already been doing this for a while. You don't even need it at this point.
No, but I will say to you, find a time that works best for you, right? Yeah. So some people wake up in the morning and they find that right as they're waking up, that's a really good time to just, during the quietness of the morning, get into a place, sit down, and then just take the 5 minutes and do your meditation then. Right. I like to do them during lunch when I'm walking around the neighborhood and the sunshine's breathing, or shining, and then the wind's blowing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody's around me, and so it's all quiet. And so all I'm hearing is the birds and the trees and the wind. That's really good. Or then you can maybe try it at night, right? And so I would say try it at different intervals and see how it feels for you.
Yeah.
Yes. For some people, morning time is going to be the best because that's when they have the most quiet time.
Yeah.
For others, it might be night time. They're night owls, and that's what they want to do, and they find that that's the best time for them to be quiet. Right.
And then you're going to find yourself along this path, right? Just like I'm sure you did, and just like I did. You're more quiet. The ideas are better.
Yes.
The creativity is better. The sleep is better.
Yes.
The food intake is more regulated. You're just more conscious of what you're doing to yourself, right?
100%. I could not agree more.
And then everything your life literally starts to unfold at that point. You get options for business or other employment things or love or, a relationship, a romantic relationship, whatever these things are, once you're comfortable with yourself and your inner voice is calm, you're not belittling yourself or demeaning yourself, everything starts to open up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think that was, really well said too, because we have to take care of ourselves. We have to lead for ourselves so that we can lead with others.
That's 100% true. Kim had this great analogy. When you're on an airplane and the oxygen mask comes down, what do they say?
Put yours on first.
Put yours on first.
Yeah.
So you can help everybody else.
Exactly.
So get some oxygen, people.
Spiritual oxygen.
Breathe. Get some breath in and get some oxygen. Help yourself and then help others as you can. Right?
Yeah, as you can. But I think we're all called to help each other.
We are.
Kim and I were talking about this last week on the Sunday meeting.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you feel? Because we were talking about person A and person B or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel really compelled and called to serve others.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've always done. And some people might get that message. Other people might get a different message. Yeah. Maybe that message just starts with helping yourself first.
I guarantee this. If you're this way, then a lot of people are like, Peter, I need your help with something. And you're like, what do you need help with? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me.
Yeah. I mean, we're naturally helpers, though. You know what I mean? Other people, they're just taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Which is not bad.
Yeah.
But I think when you get to the spiritual planes and you get a higher level of consciousness, you realize that you are a light worker just as much as anybody else, and it's your job and duty to bring them on that journey.
So, is your light worker skill? I'm going to call it a skill. Is that just connecting people? What do you think how would you define your skill?
I think it's showing them the door, opening the windows, opening the doors, and allowing them to be who they are, and giving them a place that they can go to or be. Without any judgment.
You're just holding, what I call that is holding space for people.
Yes.
Just very intentional.
Yes.
Right? That's kind of a weird term for people too. How do you hold space for somebody? It's just high levels of focus, consciousness, being present, right?
Without any judgment or perceiving or anything, right?
Exactly.
It's just people say you do you, right? And so it's like, well, how do you let people just do themselves, right?
Right.
And let's just let them be in a place where they feel like they're able to connect, maybe with you or their bubble,
their ecosphere.
And then let them be able to express themselves the way they want to.
Yeah.
The world is already a very judgmental place, so how do we be less judgy?
So judgmental.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I even like television. I know we've talked about this too, that you just watch shows and you just listen to the script and you're like, this is not how we should be treating each other.
No.
Not at all.
No.
Right?
No. And it's gotten worse with all the reality TV shit and all that other stuff, right?
I bring up this example of I Love Lucy, and I watched Ricky and Lucy just belittle each other over and over and over in every episode, and the audience is just laughing. And Ethel and her husband, right, because he was the buffoon or whatever they labeled him, right? It was just nonstop. And this was in the 60s, 70s, or 70s, I would say probably, ish. Black and white, whenever that was, right? Old television, written on script. Lucille Ball was the producer of that show.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't believe it. I don't know how that got into our zeitgeist. I don't know how it got into our culture, but the American culture of belittling each other is just rampant.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Other cultures are not like this.
No.
I mean, you travel the world just like you did. You don't see this.
No. They tend to be much more communal, much more respectful.
Of each other.
Yeah.
Of things. Of their environment.
Yeah.
There's no trash on the ground.
Of their environment, of the nature, man. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. They're just more aligned with everything.
It really is. I don't know what made America the way that we are right now, though.
I do. Marketing.
Okay.
You have to sell things, and the selling is the time, right? So you got to sell a show to somebody to get their attention so you can sell them something else. Right? I need you to buy this thing. I need you to buy Tide. Do you remember all these commercials with Tide?
Oh, yeah.
You don't see any commercials with Tide anymore.
No, I don't. No, we don't.
Oscar Mayer hot dogs?
Yeah.
That doesn't exist as a commercial.
Yeah.
Not on television. right? That's all we get is all the drug commercials now. Put these things in your body,
Yeah.
right? It'll fix everything for you,
Yeah.
right? That's all we get. And then, of course, the reality shows where people are constantly demeaning each other now, just living off the programming that they were given in the 80s and 90s when they were growing up as kids, watching cartoons, watching all the things. I mean, even like Bugs Bunny, right? Smashing each other on the head, all that stuff.
Yeah.
All that. I mean, listen, cartoons can be fun too and funny, but they don't have to be violent. And that's exactly what they were. They were violent.
There was definitely an undertone on the message.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that because it didn't have to be that way.
And that all circles back to inner voice.
Yeah.
How you're treating yourself, how you're treating others. Make sure you're treating yourself the best, using the best words for you, because your body knows no difference, right? It hears the vibration of derogatory or demeaning or whatever, and it just thinks that's what you're doing.
Exactly.
Your brain knows differently, but your body doesn't. So when your body hears those things being said by you to yourself, it's going to react in a negative way, even just incrementally, micro interactions, but all day long, all week long,
Right.
all month long.
They
all year long.
compound.
They compound.
Yep.
And then eventually people find themselves on antidepressants and all these other drugs that they were sold on television about how to fix all their problems. That's all they have to do is breathe.
Yep.
Or say a mantra. Find their rhythm with themselves, their inner selves. Is it breath, meditation, mantras? Find your thing. Right?
Yeah, I think the only way you'll be able to find it, you got to test it. You know, you got to try it and figure out what is working for you.
Right.
I mean, for you, the breathing thing is very fascinating to me because I do want to breathe, but I tend to breathe very fast, and so slowing down my breath is not something I'm good at doing.
Thoughtless, intentional breath will bring you right there.
Yeah.
Every time. Within 15, 20 seconds, 2-3 breath cycles, you are in. As long as you can keep your mind quiet, you can continue that process.
Right.
Yeah, you're not going to have a problem with that at all. But yeah, try a box breathing. Try 5-5 or try, 4-7 or try a number that makes sense. Breathe in for 4 and out for 7.
Yeah.
Because
That's a good idea.
you can control the outward breath much longer than you control the inward breath. The inward breath is much shorter, right? Or you can make it really long, but it's very hard to do.
Yes.
But the outward breath, you can really control that release, right? Well, we're going to get Stephen and Carrie on this thing. I hope to see them soon. We're going to try and organize it probably in the next few weeks, I'm assuming.
I would love that, yeah.
Right?
I think they're just a wealth full of knowledge in this space.
Oh, yeah.
They're just great human beings as well.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we have that space to share it with each other.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be more people that get attuned with that messaging, but also just attune with themselves.
Yeah.
To be able to relish in each other's presence.
Yep.
And it's cool to know that you guys are doing it, and you guys are talking about it too. That's super awesome that this just kind of came about within the last 2 weeks.
Just landed on the plate, and we're like, oh, that looks like a good steak. Let's eat it.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It just made way too much sense for me to see you come. That was so. I said that to Kim last week. It was like these two paths collided, and it was when it does that for me. It kind of like slaps me in the face in a good way.
Yeah.
Wow, just a second. This all just happened. Let's see where this path goes.
Well, there's no coincidence to any of this stuff, right?
There's nothing is left by chance, is what you said.
Yeah.
And I would agree. Coincidence is the only word we use because we don't know how to explain it.
That's correct.
Right? If we knew how to explain it correctly, we would say it's something different.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
We just say it's the universe at work or whatever, right?
There's some sort of woo-woo thing that nobody can really grab onto. I know. Coincidence. Well, here we are.
It's good to be here.
Peter, we're going to do this again for sure on this, my call cloud, both, right? We went for an hour. Did that feel like that took an hour?
No, it felt great, though.
That was a minute, in my opinion. Like, this is such a good conversation. Even with the nerd stuff, it's back and forth. It's so easy to talk to you about this stuff. But
thanks, man. Likewise.
Well, we're going to have you on again. We're going to reach out to Stephen and Carrie. We'll see you guys soon.
Thanks all.
Bye, everybody.